When 8-year-old Luna sat in the doctor's waiting room, she couldn't stop shaking. Every time her dad Marcus tried to talk to her, she jumped like a scared rabbit. Her hands were squeezed so tight that her knuckles turned white. Luna had been hiding something terrible for months. Something so scary that she was afraid to tell anyone, not even her teacher or her friends. She thought no one would believe her if she told the truth. But Mrs. Chen, the nurse, noticed something was very wrong. She saw how Luna acted around her own father. Then Dr. Rodriguez looked at Luna's X-ray pictures on her computer. What she saw made her grab the phone and call 911 right away. The X-rays showed something that made the doctor's hands shake with shock, and what Luna finally whispered to Mrs. Chen would change everything forever. What was Luna's terrifying secret that she was too scared to tell anyone? And what did those X-rays show that made a doctor call the police immediately? Luna Hartwell pressed her small hands together so tightly that her knuckles turned white. The bright lights in the waiting room at Riverside Medical Center made her squint, but she kept staring at the big fish tank in the corner. A yellow fish with black stripes swam in endless circles around a plastic castle. Luna wished she could swim away too. "Luna, sweetie, it's just a checkup," her father Marcus said from the chair next to her. His voice sounded tired and worried. "The doctor just wants to make sure you're okay after your fall." Luna nodded quickly but didn't look at him. Every time Marcus moved or spoke, her shoulders jumped up like a scared cat. She pulled her pink sweater tighter around her small body, even though the waiting room was warm. A little boy across the room was playing with wooden blocks while his mom read a magazine. He was laughing and making car sounds as he pushed a toy truck around. Luna watched him with sad eyes. She couldn't remember the last time she felt happy enough to laugh like that. The waiting room smelled like cleaning spray and something sweet, maybe cookies from the front desk. Usually Luna loved the smell of cookies, but today her stomach felt too twisted up to think about food. She had only eaten half a piece of toast for breakfast because Marcus had been in one of his angry moods again. "Luna Hartwell?" A nurse with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a ponytail appeared at the door leading to the back rooms. Her name tag said Mrs. Chen. She held a clipboard and smiled warmly. "Dr. Rodriguez will see you now." Luna stood up slowly, like an old person with sore bones. Each movement made her back hurt worse. Mrs. Chen noticed how carefully Luna moved and how the 8-year-old girl seemed afraid to make any sudden motions. Marcus reached out to help Luna up, but she stepped away from his hand quickly. The movement was small, but Mrs. Chen caught it. In her 20 years of working with children, she had learned to notice things that other adults might miss. "Are you feeling okay, honey?" Mrs. Chen asked Luna gently as they walked toward the hallway. Luna opened her mouth to answer, then looked at her father with frightened eyes. Marcus was watching her closely, and Luna could see the warning look on his face. It was the same look he gave her at home when she was supposed to keep quiet about family business. I fell down the stairs at home yesterday," Luna whispered, so quietly that Mrs. Chen had to lean down to hear her. "My back hurts really bad." Mrs. Chen glanced at Marcus, who immediately put on a big smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Kids are so clumsy, aren't they?" he said with a nervous laugh. "Always running around, not watching where they're going. I told her to be more careful on those stairs." Something about Marcus's smile made Mrs. Chen feel uneasy. She had seen that kind of fake smile before, usually from adults who were hiding something important. "How did you fall, sweetie?" Mrs. Chen asked Luna, as they walked down the long hallway lined with colorful pictures of cartoon animals. Luna's steps got even smaller and more careful. She held onto the wall with one hand like she needed help staying upright. I was going upstairs to my room and I fell backwards," she said without looking up from the floor. Marcus quickly added, She probably tripped over her own feet. You know how kids are at that age. But Mrs. Chen was watching Luna's face, not listening to Marcus's explanations. The little girl looked scared and sad in a way that went much deeper than just being hurt from a fall. There were dark circles under Luna's brown eyes, like she hadn't been sleeping well. Her long dark hair looked like it hadn't been brushed properly in days. When they reached examination room number 3, Mrs. Chen held the door open for them. The paper on the examination table crinkled loudly as Luna climbed up and sat down. The sound made her jump slightly. "Dr. Rodriguez will be with you in just a few minutes," Mrs. Chen said. She was making mental notes about everything she observed. Luna's fearful behavior around her father, the way she moved like she was in pain, and most importantly, the scared look in her eyes that seemed to be about much more than just a sore. Beck. As Mrs. Chen closed the door, she heard Marcus's voice get lower and more serious. "Luna, remember what we talked about in the car? About keeping our family business private, right?" Mrs. Chen paused outside the door. That didn't sound like something a caring father would say to a hurt child. It sounded like a warning, maybe even a threat. Through the small window in the door, she could see Luna nodding quickly, her small body tense with fear. Marcus was leaning close to her, speaking quietly but intensely. Mrs. Chen hurried to find Dr. Rodriguez. Something was very wrong in examination room 3, and Luna Hartwell needed more help than just medicine for a hurt back. What Mrs. Chen didn't know yet was that Luna had been carrying a terrible secret for months, a secret that was about to change everything for both of them forever. Mrs. Chen found Dr. Rodriguez looking at patient files at the nurse's station. Dr. Maria Rodriguez had been working with children for 15 years and loved her job, but today, she could see the worry on Mrs. Chen's face. "We need to talk about the little girl in room 3, Mrs. Chen said quietly, making sure no other families could hear. "Something doesn't feel right." Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her computer. "What's going on?" "Luna Hartwell, 8 years old, says she fell down the stairs yesterday, but she's acting very strange around her father. She won't let him touch her, and she seems scared to talk when he's listening." Dr. Rodriguez nodded seriously. She had learned to trust Mrs. Chen's instincts about children and families. "I'll be extra careful during the examination." When Dr. Rodriguez entered room 3, she immediately noticed what Mrs. Chen had seen. Luna sat very still on the examination table, like she was afraid to move. Her father, Marcus, was pacing by the window, checking his phone every few seconds. "Hello, Luna," Dr. Rodriguez said with a warm smile. "I'm Dr. Rodriguez. How are you feeling today?" Luna glanced quickly at her father, then whispered, "My back hurts." "When did it start hurting?" Dr. Rodriguez asked, pulling up a rolling chair to sit at Luna's eye level. "Yesterday," Luna said, so quietly that Dr. Rodriguez had to lean closer. After I fell down the stairs." Dr. Rodriguez noticed that Luna hesitated before saying, "fell down the stairs," like she was remembering a story she had been told to say. "Luna, I need to take some special pictures of your back with our X-ray machine," Dr. Rodriguez explained gently. "It's like a big camera that can see inside your body to check your bones. It doesn't hurt at all." Luna nodded, but her eyes filled with tears. "Will it show everything?" she asked, in a voice so small that only Dr. Rodriguez could hear. The question was strange. Most children asked if X-rays would hurt, not if they would show everything. Dr. Rodriguez made a mental note about this odd response. Marcus spoke up from across the room. "Doctor, is this really necessary? Kids fall downstairs all the time. She just needs some pain medicine and rest." Dr. Rodriguez kept her voice professional but firm. "Mr. Hartwell, back injuries in children can be serious. It's always better to be safe and make sure there's no damage to her spine or ribs." Marcus's face got red, but he nodded. "Fine, but let's make this quick. We have things to do today." In the X-ray room down the hall, Luna lay very still on the big table while the machine hummed softly above her. The X-ray technician, Mr. Park, was gentle and explained everything he was doing. "You're being very brave, Luna," Mr. Park said. "Just hold still for a few more seconds." Luna closed her eyes tight and tried to think about happy things. She thought about her teacher. Miss Parker, who always smiled at her and gave her extra encouragement. She thought about her best friend Zoe, who shared her apple slices at lunch. She tried not to think about last night, when Marcus had pushed her so hard that she tumbled backward down 5 stairs before hitting the wall. She tried not to think about all the other times Marcus had hurt her when he drank the bad-smelling drinks that made him angry. She tried not to think about the promises he made her keep and the scary things he said would happen if she ever told anyone their family secrets. "All finished," Mr. Park announced. "You did great, Luna." Back in the examination room, Marcus was getting more nervous by the minute. He kept looking at his watch and asking Mrs. Chen how much longer the X-rays would take. "The doctor will have the results soon," Mrs. Chen assured him, but she was watching Marcus carefully. His behavior was making her more worried about Luna. In her office, Dr. Rodriguez pulled up Luna's X-ray images on her computer screen. What she saw made her heart start beating fast and her hands shake. The X-rays showed much more than just yesterday's fall. Luna had 2 ribs that were healing from old breaks. There was an old fracture in her left arm that had healed months ago. Fresh bruising showed up as dark shadows along her spine and back. Most concerning of all, the pattern of injuries showed they had happened at different times over several months. This was not from one accident or one fall down the stairs. This was from repeated trauma. Someone had been hurting Luna over and over again. Dr. Rodriguez immediately called Dr. Martinez, who worked in the hospital's child protection unit. "I need you to look at some X-rays right now," she said urgently. "This is an emergency." Dr. Martinez reviewed the images within 3 minutes. "Call 911 immediately," he told Dr. Rodriguez. "This child is being abused. These injuries show a clear pattern of ongoing physical violence. She's in immediate danger." Dr. Rodriguez's hands shook as she dialed 911. "This is Dr. Rodriguez at Riverside Medical Center. I need to report suspected child abuse. I have X-ray, evidence of multiple injuries on an 8-year-old patient." The 911 operator took down all the information quickly. "Officers and a social worker are on their way. Do not let the suspected abuser leave with the child." Dr. Rodriguez hung up and took a deep breath. She had to go back to that examination room and somehow keep Luna safe until help arrived. In room 3, Marcus was getting more agitated. "How long does it take to read some pictures?" he demanded. "We need to get going." Luna sat quietly on the examination table, swinging her legs. For the first time all morning, she didn't look scared. Something about Dr. Rodriguez made her feel like maybe, finally, a grown-up was going to help her. Mrs. Chen stepped into the hallway and saw Dr. Rodriguez talking quietly with 2 security guards. The serious expressions on their faces told her everything she needed to know. After 20 years of nursing, she had seen this situation before. When Dr. Rodriguez returned to the room, she tried to keep her voice calm and normal. "Mr. Hartwell, I need to discuss Luna's X-rays with you. The injuries we found are more serious than we initially thought." Marcus's face went white. "What do you mean, injuries? She just fell down some stairs yesterday." "Luna has multiple injuries, Mr. Hartwell. Some are old, some are new. This pattern requires further investigation." Marcus stood up quickly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "We're leaving. Come on, Luna. Get down from there." But Luna didn't move. For the first time in months, she felt brave enough to speak up. "I don't want to go home," she said clearly. The room went completely silent. Marcus stared at Luna in shock and anger. Dr. Rodriguez moved closer to Luna protectively. Mrs. Chen pressed the emergency button that would bring more security guards. Outside, police sirens were getting louder and louder. Marcus realized his careful lies were falling apart. "Luna, you don't know what you're saying," he said, his voice shaking with fear and rage. "Tell them it was an accident. Tell them you're clumsy and you fell down the stairs." Luna looked at her father, then at Dr. Rodriguez and Mrs. Chen. These adults had kind eyes and gentle voices. They felt safe in a way that Marcus never had. "No," Luna said, her voice getting stronger with each word. "I told Mrs. Chen the truth already. I told her you didn't just push me down the stairs yesterday. I told her about all the other times. You hurt me too." Marcus's fake smile disappeared completely. The police sirens were right outside now. The police sirens stopped right outside Riverside Medical Center. Marcus's hands started shaking as he heard car doors slamming in the parking lot. He looked at Luna, then at Dr. Rodriguez and Mrs. Chen, like a trapped animal looking for a way to escape. "Luna, listen to me very carefully," Marcus said, his voice getting scary and low. "You need to tell these people that you fell down the stairs. Tell them you're clumsy. Tell them you hurt yourself by accident." But Luna shook her head. "No, Daddy. I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of being scared all the time." Dr. Rodriguez stepped closer to Luna, putting herself between the little girl and Marcus. "Luna, you're safe here. No one is going to hurt you." Mrs. Chen had quietly pressed the emergency button, and within seconds, 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Their presence made Marcus panic even more. "This is all a big misunderstanding," Marcus said loudly, his voice getting higher and more desperate. "My daughter is confused. She hits herself sometimes. She's always been clumsy and accident-prone." "That's not true," Luna said, tears starting to flow down her cheeks. "You hurt me when you get angry. You hurt me when you drink those bottles that smell bad. You told me never to tell anyone, but I can't keep the secret anymore." The words poured out of Luna like water bursting through a broken dam. For months, she had kept everything locked inside her heart. Now, finally, she was telling the truth to adults who seemed to care about her. Officer Sarah Johnson and Officer Mike Torres walked quickly through the medical center's front doors. They had worked many cases involving hurt children, so they knew exactly what to do in situations like this. Dr. Rodriguez met them in the hallway just outside room 3. She showed them Luna's X-ray images on her tablet computer. "These injuries happened over several months," Dr. Rodriguez explained. Quietly. "The pattern clearly shows repeated physical abuse, not accidents." Officer Johnson, who had short brown hair and kind but serious eyes, nodded grimly. "We need to interview the child away from the father. Can you give us a private, safe place to talk with her?" "Of course," Dr. Rodriguez said. "We have a family counseling room that's comfortable and quiet." Back in the examination room, Marcus was becoming more and more desperate. The security guard stayed by the door, watching him carefully, but not saying anything yet. "Luna, remember what I told you about family secrets?" Marcus said, his voice now sounding like a threat. "Remember what happens to little girls who don't listen to their fathers? Remember what I said about nobody believing you?" These scary words made Luna shrink back in fear for a moment. She had heard these threats so many times at home. But then Mrs. Chen immediately stepped between Luna and Marcus. "Mr. Hartwell, you need to step away from Luna right now," Mrs. Chen said firmly. Her voice was still kind, but now it was also very strong. The security guards moved closer to Marcus when they heard Mrs. Chen's warning tone. The small examination room suddenly felt very crowded with all the adults trying to protect Luna. Officer Johnson and Officer Torres entered the room. Both officers were tall and wore dark blue uniforms, but they spoke gently when they looked at Luna. "Mr. Hartwell, I'm Officer Johnson," the female officer said in a calm but serious voice. We need to ask you some questions about Luna's injuries. Marcus tried to put his fake smile back on, but his hands were shaking too much. Officers, this is just a big misunderstanding. My daughter fell down some stairs yesterday. Kids get hurt all the time when they play. Officer Torres, who had gray hair and gentle eyes, knelt down so he was at Luna's eye level. Hi, Luna, I'm Officer Torres. You were very brave for telling the truth today. Would you like to talk to me and a nice lady named Ms. Garcia? She helps kids who are scared or hurt. Luna looked at Officer Torres, then at Mrs. Chen and Dr. Rodriguez. All of these adults had kind faces and soft voices. They felt safe in a way that she hadn't felt safe in months. Will you keep me safe? Luna asked in a small voice. Yes, Officer Torres promised. We will absolutely keep you safe. Social worker Ms. Garcia arrived at the medical center within 10 minutes. She was a woman with gray hair and gentle eyes who had helped hundreds of children in situations exactly like Luna's. She knew how to talk to scared kids and make them feel comfortable. Luna, honey, you did exactly the right thing by telling Mrs. Chen and Dr. Rodriguez the truth, Ms. Garcia said as she sat down next to Luna. Now we can help make sure you're safe. While Ms. Garcia talked with Luna in the private counseling room, Officers Johnson and Torres questioned Marcus in the examination room. Dr. Rodriguez stayed to provide the medical evidence, the X-ray pictures that told the horrible story of months and months of abuse. Mr. Hartwell, Officer Johnson said, looking at the X-ray images on Dr. Rodriguez's tablet. These pictures show injuries that happened over several months. Can you explain how your daughter got these multiple broken bones and bruises? Marcus's story kept changing every time he tried to explain. First, he said Luna was clumsy and fell down a lot. Then he claimed she played too rough with other kids at school. Finally, he tried to say that Luna hurt herself on purpose because she had emotional problems. Officer Torres had heard all of these excuses many times before from parents who hurt their children. Sir, we have medical evidence that contradicts your explanations. We also have Luna's detailed statement about what really happened to her. In the counseling room, Luna was telling Ms. Garcia everything that had been happening at home. She talked about how Marcus hit her and pushed her when he drank alcohol. She described how he threw things at her when he got angry about work or money. She explained how he told her that no one would believe her if she told, and that she would be taken away and put in a scary place with strangers. Luna, you were incredibly brave to tell the truth today, Ms. Garcia said. And you know what? There are people who love you and have been worried about you. Your teacher, Miss Parker, has been concerned. Some of your friends' parents have noticed that you seemed sad. Luna's eyes got wide with surprise. They noticed something was wrong. Adults who care about children always notice when something isn't right. And now we can help you feel safe again. The biggest surprise came when Luna told Ms. Garcia about her mother. My daddy told me that my mommy left because she didn't love me anymore. But I found some letters hidden in his closet. Letters from my mommy saying she wants to see me and that she misses me. Ms. Garcia's heart felt heavy with sadness for Luna, but also hopeful. Luna, what's your mommy's name? Elena Hartwell. But Daddy says I can never see her because she's a bad person who would hurt me. Ms. Garcia immediately wrote down this important information. She realized that Luna's mother might have been trying to get custody or visit Luna, but Marcus had been keeping them apart. This meant that Luna had family who loved her and wanted to protect her. Luna, I think your mommy has been trying very hard to see you, Ms. Garcia said gently. Would you like me to call her? Luna's face lit up with the first real smile anyone had seen from her all day. Yes, can you really call my mommy? As Ms. Garcia reached for her phone to find Elena's number, Luna felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Maybe finally the nightmare was ending. Maybe finally She was going to be safe. Garcia stepped into the hallway to make some important phone calls while Luna waited in the counseling room with Dr. Rodriguez. Luna's heart was beating fast, with excitement and fear. She was going to talk to her mommy for the first time in months. Miss Garcia called the family court office first to learn more about Luna's parents. What she discovered made her feel both angry and sad. Elena Hartwell had been fighting to see her daughter for over a year. She had filed many reports with Child Protective Services, trying to tell them that Marcus was hurting Luna. But every time Elena reported her worries, Marcus would talk to the social workers and convince them that Elena was lying. He told them that Elena was just angry about their divorce and was making up stories to get back at him. Elena had noticed signs that someone was hurting Luna during her short, supervised visits. She saw mysterious bruises on Luna's arms and legs. She watched Luna jump and get scared when adults moved too quickly. She noticed how frightened Luna seemed when it was time to go back home to Marcus. Every time Elena reported these scary signs, Marcus would charm the social workers. He would act like a caring father who was worried about his ex-wife's mental problems. The social workers believed Marcus because he seemed so nice and reasonable when he talked to them. Mrs. Garcia found Elena's phone number and called her right away. Mrs. Hartwell, this is Ms. Garcia from Child Protective Services. I'm calling about your daughter, Luna. Elena's voice immediately filled with panic and fear. Is she hurt? Is she okay? I've been so worried about her. I haven't been allowed to see her in 3 weeks because Marcus claimed I was upsetting her during our visits. Elena, Luna is safe right now. She's here at Riverside Medical Center, and we finally have proof that confirms everything you've been trying to tell us. Elena started crying with relief and fear at the same time. I knew something terrible was happening to her. I could see it in her eyes during our visits. She was becoming more and more quiet and scared every time I saw her. Can you come to the medical center right away? Luna needs you here. I'm already getting my car keys, Elena said. I've been waiting for this phone call for months. I never stopped believing that someone would finally listen to me. While Elena rushed to the hospital, Luna continued talking with Dr. Rodriguez in the counseling room. Luna was feeling braver now that she had told the truth. And she started sharing more details about her life with Marcus. Sometimes Daddy locks me in my room when his friends come over to watch sports on TV, Luna said quietly. He tells them I'm sleeping, but really he just doesn't want them to see me. He says I embarrass him when I'm around other people. Luna also told Dr. Rodriguez about not having enough food at home. Sometimes there's no food for me to eat because Daddy spends the grocery money on his bottles. My teacher, Miss Parker, sometimes gives me extra crackers at snack time because she says I look hungry. This information made Dr. Rodriguez realize that Marcus hadn't just been hitting Luna. He had also been hurting her emotionally and not taking care of her basic needs like food and safety. Back in the examination room, the police officers were arresting Marcus. The medical evidence was too strong, and Luna's detailed story provided clear proof that he had been hurting her for months. Marcus Hartwell, you're under arrest for child abuse, child endangerment, and interfering with child custody, Officer, Johnson announced as she put handcuffs on his wrists. Marcus made one last desperate attempt to control what was happening. You can't take her away from me. I'm her father. She needs me. Where is she going to live? Officer Torres responded firmly but calmly. What Luna needed was safety and protection. She'll get that now. As the police officers led Marcus out of the medical center in handcuffs, he continued to yell, threats, and make excuses. The medical staff quickly moved Luna to a different room so she wouldn't have to see this frightening scene. 35 minutes after Ms. Garcia's phone call, Elena Hartwell rushed through the front doors of Riverside Medical Center. She hadn't seen her daughter in 3 weeks, and before that,
Her visits had been limited to just 2 hours once a week with a social worker watching everything they did. Miss Garcia met Elena in the lobby.
Elena was a small woman with kind brown eyes and the same dark hair as Luna. She had been working 2 different jobs to pay for lawyers and court fees, desperately trying to prove that Luna was in danger living with Marcus. "Where is she? How badly is she hurt?" Elena asked frantically as they walked quickly toward the counseling room. "She has some physical injuries that will heal with time," Ms. Garcia explained. But Elena, she was incredibly brave today. She finally found the courage to tell the truth about what Marcus has been doing to her. When Elena opened the door to the counseling room and saw Luna sitting with Dr. Rodriguez, both mother and daughter started crying at the same time. Luna jumped up and ran to her mother's arms, the first time she had been able to hug her mom without a social worker timing their visit in many months. "Mommy, I missed you so much," Luna sobbed into Eleanor's shoulder. "Daddy told me you didn't want to see me anymore. He said you moved far away and forgot about me." Elena held Luna tightly, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, sweetheart, I've been fighting every single day to see you. I never stopped trying to bring you home with me. I love you more than anything in the whole world." Dr. Rodriguez watched this reunion with tears in her own eyes. She could see the strong love between Luna and Elena, and it made her feel hopeful about Luna's future. "Luna will need to stay here at the hospital tonight for observation," Dr. Rodriguez explained to Elena. "But after that, she can go home with you. The court has already granted you emergency custody based on the evidence we found today." Elena nodded, never letting go of Luna's hand. "I'll stay here with her tonight. I'm never leaving her alone again." Miss Garcia explained what would happen next. "Marcus has been arrested and will face criminal charges. Based on the evidence we have, it's very likely that you'll get full custody of Luna permanently. The court will probably give you a restraining order to keep Marcus away from both of you." Luna looked up at her mother with hope shining in her eyes for the first time in months. "Does this mean I can live with you now, Mommy? Does this mean I don't have to be scared anymore?" "Yes, baby girl," Elena said, brushing tears from Luna's cheeks. "You're coming home with me, and you never have to be afraid again. I promise, I will protect you forever." But Ms. Garcia had one more important piece of information to share. "Elena, there's something else you should know. During our investigation, we discovered that Luna's school has been documenting concerning signs for months. Her teacher, Miss Parker, and the school nurse have been keeping detailed notes about Luna's behavior and injuries." This news showed Elena that Luna had been surrounded by adults who cared about her and were trying to help her, even when Elena couldn't be there to protect her herself. "It takes a whole community to save a child," Ms. Garcia said. "Luna had teachers, medical staff, and a mother who never gave up fighting for her. That's why she's safe today." As the sun began to set outside the hospital windows, Luna sat curled up next to her mother on the counseling room couch. For the first time in months, she felt completely safe and loved. "Mommy, will you stay with me forever now?" Luna asked, sleepily. "Forever and always," Elena promised, kissing the top of Luna's head. "We're going to build a beautiful new life together, just you and me." 3 days after the scary events at the medical center, Luna woke up in her mother's apartment. For the first time in over a year, soft morning sunlight came through pink curtains that Elena had bought especially for Luna's new bedroom. Elena had worked very hard to make the apartment feel safe and welcoming for Luna. Luna's room had fluffy stuffed animals, her favorite, books from when she was younger, and pictures of happy memories from before the divorce. There were no locks on any doors, no hidden bottles anywhere, and no reasons to be afraid. "Good morning, sunshine," Elena said gently, sitting on the edge of Luna's bed. "How did you sleep last night?" Luna stretched like a happy cat and smiled. a real smile that made her eyes sparkle. "I slept all night long, Mommy. I didn't have any bad dreams or scary thoughts." This was huge progress for Luna. For many months, she had been waking up multiple times, each night with nightmares about Marcus hurting her or threatening her. Elena had taken time off from both of her jobs to help Luna adjust to her new life. The family court judge had granted Elena emergency custody, and a different judge had issued a restraining order that legally required Marcus to stay at least 500 feet away from Luna and Elena at all times. "What would you like for breakfast, sweetheart?" Elena asked. Luna's face lit up with excitement. "Can I have pancakes? Real pancakes with butter and syrup?" Elena's heart felt sad for a moment, remembering how Marcus often didn't provide proper meals for Luna. "Of course you can have pancakes. We can have pancakes whenever you want them." While Elena cooked breakfast in the small but cheerful kitchen, Luna explored her new home. Everything felt different here than at Marcus's house. The apartment smelled like flowers instead of alcohol and anger. There were no broken things or holes in the walls from Marcus's violent outbursts. Most importantly, there were no scary sounds or angry voices. After they ate delicious pancakes with strawberries, Elena and Luna had an appointment with Dr. Susan Kim, a child psychologist who specialized in helping kids recover from trauma. Elena had researched very carefully to find the best therapist for Luna. Dr. Kim's office was warm and colorful, filled with toys, art supplies, books, and comfortable places to sit. Luna felt nervous at first because she had never talked to a therapist before. But Dr. Kim had a gentle way of speaking that made Luna feel safe and understood. "Luna, I'm here to help you feel better about the scary things that happened to you," Dr. Kim explained in a kind voice. "We'll go very slowly, and you never have to talk about anything that makes you feel uncomfortable." During their first therapy session, Luna mostly played with the dollhouse and colored pictures, while Dr. Kim and Elena talked quietly. But gradually, Luna started listening to their conversation and occasionally adding her own thoughts. "Healing from trauma takes time," Dr. Kim explained to Elena. "Luna has shown incredible courage by speaking up about the abuse, but she'll need ongoing support to process everything she's experienced." Dr. Kim also explained some things that Elena might notice as Luna continued to heal. She might have some difficult days where she feels scared or angry for no obvious reason. She might have trouble trusting new adults at first. She might have nightmares or trouble sleeping. Sometimes, these are all normal reactions to what she's been through. Meanwhile, Detective Lisa Reeves had been assigned to investigate Luna's case more thoroughly. She was discovering disturbing information about Marcus's behavior over the past year that explained why the abuse had gotten worse recently. Detective Reeves found out that Marcus had been isolating Luna from anyone who might notice the signs of abuse. He had stopped allowing Luna to have friends come over to play. He made excuses to avoid parent-teacher conferences at school. He even lied to Elena's parents and siblings, telling them that Elena didn't want them to have contact with Luna. The detective also discovered evidence that Marcus had been drinking alcohol heavily and had lost his job 3 months ago. This explained why the abuse had become more frequent and more violent. Marcus was taking out his anger and frustration about his own failures on Luna. Most shocking of all, Detective Reeves found emails and search history on Marcus's computer showing that he had been planning to move to another state with Luna. This would have made it nearly impossible for Elena to see her daughter, or for authorities to help Luna if she had tried to report the abuse again. Back at Dr. Kim's office, Luna was starting to open up about her feelings and experiences. "I used to think it was my fault when Daddy got angry and hurt me," Luna said quietly while coloring a picture of a rainbow. "I thought if I was quieter or more perfect, he wouldn't get mad at me anymore." Dr. Kim nodded with understanding. "That's something many children think when adults hurt them, Luna, but I want you to know that what happened was never, ever your fault. Adults are responsible for controlling their own behavior. especially around children. Elena wiped away tears as she listened to her daughter process these difficult emotions and memories. Luna continued coloring and talking. I was really scared to tell anyone the truth because Daddy said no one would believe me. He said people would think I was lying and making up stories. But people did believe you, Dr. Kim pointed out gently. Mrs. Chen believed you right away. Dr. Rodriguez believed you. Your mommy always knew something was wrong, even when she couldn't prove it. Luna looked up at her mother with amazement and gratitude. You really knew I was being hurt. Mommy? Elna nodded, fresh tears in her eyes. I could see it in your eyes and in the way you acted, sweetheart. A mother always knows when her child is in pain or danger. I never stopped fighting to protect you, even when the system made it hard for me to help you. Over the following weeks, Luna started attending a new school closer to Elena's apartment. Her new teacher, Mr. Jackson, had been told about Luna's situation and knew to watch for signs that she might be struggling emotionally or academically. Luna was nervous on her first day at the new school, but she quickly discovered that school felt completely different now. She wasn't worried about going home at the end of the day. She wasn't afraid to laugh out loud during recess. For the first time in many months, Luna could focus on learning and making friends instead of worrying about her safety. Her new classmates welcomed her warmly. A girl named Maya invited Luna to sit with her at lunch, and soon Luna had made several new friends who didn't know anything about her difficult past. Mommy, Maya asked if I can come to her birthday party next weekend, Luna said excitedly after school one day. Elena smiled with joy. Of course you can go. We'll pick out a nice present for her at the store. These normal childhood experiences, birthday parties, sleepovers, school activities, were things Luna hadn't been able to enjoy for a long time. Marcus had kept her isolated from other children, claiming that he didn't trust other families or that Luna was too difficult to be around at other kids. One evening, while Luna was drawing pictures at the kitchen table and humming a happy song, she asked Elena a difficult but important question. Mommy, will I ever have to see Daddy again? Elena sat down next to Luna and chose her words very carefully. Right now, the law says that Marcus can't come near us. In the future, when you're much older and an adult yourself, you can decide if you ever want to see him. But you never have to see him if you don't want to. Luna nodded, looking relieved and thoughtful. I don't think I want to see him ever again. I still feel scared when I think about him, even though I know he can't hurt me anymore. That's completely okay, sweetheart. Your feelings are important and valid, and I will always protect you and respect your decisions. The biggest breakthrough in Luna's healing came 3 weeks after she moved in with Elena. Luna woke up from a nightmare about Marcus, but instead of lying in bed scared and alone like she used to do, she got up and walked to Elena's room. Mommy, I had a bad dream about Daddy hurting me. Can I sleep with you tonight? Elena immediately made room for Luna in her bed, holding her close and stroking her hair. As Luna snuggled safely against her mother, Elena realized how much progress they had both made in such a short time. I love you so much, Luna. You're completely safe now. I love you too, Mommy. Thank you for never giving up on me and for saving me. As they fell asleep together, Elena felt grateful for all the people who had helped bring Luna home. Mrs. Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, Ms. Garcia, Detective Reeves, and so many others who had chosen to notice, listen, and act when Luna needed them most. 2 months after Luna's rescue, the day of Marcus's trial finally arrived. The courthouse was a big, scary building with tall marble columns and echoing hallways that made every footstep sound loud. Luna held Elena's hand tightly as they walked through the metal detectors and down the long corridors filled with serious-looking adults in dark suits. District Attorney Jennifer Walsh had been preparing carefully for this important case. She knew that cases involving hurt children could be difficult to win in court, but Luna's medical evidence and brave testimony made this case very strong. "Luna, you don't have to be scared," Ms. Walsh explained as they sat in a quiet room before. "The trial began. I'm going to ask you some questions about what happened to you, and all you have to do is tell the truth, just like you did with Mrs. Chen and Dr. Rodriguez." Luna nodded, but her hands were still shaking slightly. Even though Marcus couldn't hurt her anymore, the thought of seeing him again made her stomach feel sick and twisty. Elena squeezed Luna's hand gently. "I'll be right there with you the whole time, sweetheart. And remember, there will be lots of people in that courtroom who are there to protect you and make sure justice happens." The courtroom was packed with people who had been following Luna's story and wanted to support her. Miss Parker, Luna's former teacher, was there to testify about the changes she had noticed in Luna's behavior over the school year. Dr. Rodriguez and Mrs. Chen were there to present the medical evidence that had started Luna's rescue. Even Luna's new teacher, Mr. Jackson, had come to show his support. When Marcus was brought into the courtroom wearing handcuffs and an orange jail uniform, Luna gripped Elena's hand so tightly that it almost hurt. Marcus looked very different than Luna remembered. Thinner, older, and tired. His eyes looked sad and angry at the same time. Judge Patricia Morrison called the court to order. She was known for being fair but very serious, especially in cases involving children who had been hurt by adults. "This is the case of the state versus Marcus Hartwell," Judge Morrison announced in a clear, strong voice. "Mr. Hartwell is charged with multiple counts of child abuse, child endangerment, and interfering with child custody." Marcus's lawyer, Mr. Patterson, had been trying to think of ways to defend his client, but the evidence against Marcus was so overwhelming that Mr. Patterson knew this would be a very difficult case to win. The trial began with Ms. Walsh presenting the prosecution's case against Marcus. She called Dr. Rodriguez to the witness stand first. "Dr. Rodriguez, please describe what you found when you examined Luna Hartwell's X-rays," Ms. Walsh asked. Dr. Rodriguez explained the medical evidence in clear, simple language that everyone in the courtroom could understand. The X-rays showed multiple injuries that were consistent with repeated physical abuse over several months. These were definitely not the result of normal childhood accidents or a single fall down the stairs. She showed the X-ray images to the jury on a big screen, pointing out the old and new broken bones, the pattern of bruising, and the clear signs of trauma that had happened many different times. Next, Mrs. Chen took the witness stand. She described Luna's behavior in the waiting room and during the medical examination. Luna was clearly afraid of her father, Mrs. Chen testified. She flinched and pulled away when he tried to touch her. She avoided looking at him directly. She seemed relieved and more relaxed when we separated them for the X-ray procedure. Mrs. Chen also told the court about the crucial moment when Luna whispered the truth to her in the hallway, the moment that had started the entire investigation. "Luna said to me, 'He didn't just push me down the stairs. He's been hurting me for a long time. But he told me no one would believe me if I told the truth.'" The courtroom was completely silent as people absorbed the impact of Luna's brave words. Miss Parker, Luna's former teacher, testified about the dramatic changes she had noticed in Luna over the school year. Luna went from being a happy, outgoing child to becoming withdrawn, fearful, and very quiet, Miss Parker explained. She was often hungry at school, had unexplained bruises and cuts, and seemed terrified of making any mistakes. I documented my concerns and reported them to the school counselor and principal multiple times. The school nurse also testified, presenting her detailed records of Luna's injuries and behavioral changes that she had been tracking for several months. Then came the most important part of the trial, Luna's testimony. Judge Morrison had arranged for Luna to testify using a special television system from a separate room so she wouldn't have to look directly at Marcus while she told her story. "Ms. Walsh asked Luna gentle questions about her experiences with Marcus. "Luna, can you tell us about the day you went to see Dr. Rodriguez?" Ms. Walsh began. Luna's voice was quiet but clear and strong. "My back hurt really bad because Daddy pushed me down the stairs the night before. But it wasn't the first time he hurt me like that." "Can you tell us about other times he hurt you?" Luna took a deep breath and began to share her story with the courtroom. She told them about Marcus hitting her and pushing her when he drank alcohol. She described being locked in her room for hours. She explained how Marcus told her that no one would believe her if she told the truth about what was happening. The most powerful moment came when Luna explained why she finally decided to speak up and tell the truth. "I was tired of being scared. All the time," Luna said with surprising strength in her voice. "And Mrs. Chen was so nice and kind to me. She made me feel like maybe finally a grown-up would believe me and help me." Even some of the tough police officers and court workers wiped away tears as Luna bravely shared her story. Marcus's lawyer tried to create doubt about Luna's testimony, suggesting that she might be confused or that Elena had influenced her to say bad things about her father. But Luna's detailed, consistent story, combined with all the medical evidence, made his defense arguments sound weak and unconvincing. The biggest surprise came when Detective Reeves presented evidence that nobody had expected. During her investigation, she had discovered that Marcus had been secretly recording some of his conversations with Luna, apparently planning to use them against Elena in their custody battle. But these recordings actually provided even more evidence of Marcus's abuse. The audio files captured Marcus threatening Luna, calling her mean names, and demanding that she lie about her injuries to protect him. In one particularly damaging recording, Marcus could be heard saying, "If you tell anyone about our private family business, they'll take you away and put you in a foster home with strangers who don't care about you. I'm the only family you have, and you better remember that." When the jury heard these frightening recordings, several jurors looked shocked and disgusted by Marcus's threatening words. Elena also testified about her year-long battle to protect Luna. She presented evidence of her multiple reports to Child Protective Services, her court filings requesting emergency custody, and her detailed documentation of Luna's injuries and behavioral changes during their supervised visits. "I knew my daughter was being hurt," Elena said, tears streaming down her face. "But every time I reported it, Marcus would convince the authorities that I was lying because I was angry about our divorce. I felt helpless watching my child suffer while the system failed to protect her." The trial lasted 3 intense days. During closing arguments, Ms. Walsh summarized the overwhelming evidence against Marcus. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about a man who systematically abused his 8-year-old daughter for months while preventing her mother from protecting her. Luna. Hartwell showed incredible courage in finally speaking the truth, despite being threatened and intimidated by someone who was supposed to love and protect her. Marcus's lawyer made a final attempt to create reasonable doubt, but his arguments sounded weak compared to the mountain of evidence presented by the prosecution. The jury deliberated for only 2 hours before reaching their verdict. When they returned to the courtroom, the tension was so thick you could almost feel it. Judge Morrison called the court back to session. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" The jury foreman stood up slowly. "Yes, Your Honor. We find the defendant, Marcus Hartwell, guilty on all charges." Luna, watching from the special room via television, began to cry, but these were tears of relief and happiness, not fear or sadness. Marcus showed no emotion as the verdict was read, but his lawyer looked completely defeated. Judge Morrison scheduled the sentencing hearing for the following week. Marcus faced up to 15 years in prison for his crimes against Luna. The sentencing hearing took place exactly 1 week after the guilty verdict. This time, Luna chose not to attend the courthouse. She was finally starting to feel truly safe and happy, and Elena didn't want to force her to see Marcus again or relive the trauma by being in the same room with him. Instead, Luna spent the morning at her new school, working on a colorful art project with her best friend Maya. She had been sleeping better, eating regularly, and slowly becoming the joyful child she was meant to be. The dark circles under her eyes were gone, and her smile was becoming more frequent and genuine. Elena attended the sentencing hearing with Ms. Garcia, Detective Reeves, and several other people who had helped save Luna's life. The courtroom was less crowded than during the trial, but all of Luna's supporters were there. Dr. Rodriguez, Mrs. Chen, Miss Parker, and several other people who had played important roles in Luna's rescue. Judge Morrison reviewed Marcus's criminal history and studied the details of his crimes against Luna carefully.
She also read the victim impact statement that Elena had written on Luna's behalf, describing how the abuse had affected Luna's physical health, emotional well-being, and ability to trust adults. Mr. Hartwell,
Judge Morrison began, looking directly at Marcus, who stood silently in his orange jail uniform. You have been found guilty of systematically abusing your 8-year-old daughter over a period of several months. You broke her bones, terrorized her psychologically, deprived her of proper food and care, and prevented people from helping her. Marcus stood without speaking as the judge continued with her serious words. Child abuse is one of the most horrible crimes in our society because children depend completely on adults to protect them, not harm them. You violated that sacred trust in the worst possible way. You used your position as Luna's father to hurt her repeatedly while threatening her into silence. Judge Morrison paused, looking at the evidence file in front of her. The medical evidence shows that Luna suffered multiple broken bones, severe bruising, and psychological trauma under your care. The recordings we heard during trial reveal that you threatened and intimidated her to keep your crimes secret. She looked up at Marcus again. Furthermore, you systematically isolated Luna from her mother and other adults who might have helped her. You lied to social workers and manipulated the system to continue your abuse. Judge Morrison sentenced Marcus to 12 years in prison without the possibility of parole for the first 8 years. She also ordered him to pay for all of Luna's medical expenses and counseling costs, and she granted Elena a permanent restraining order that would last for the rest of Luna's childhood. Additionally, the judge added with a stern voice, you will have absolutely no contact with Luna Hartwell during your imprisonment. If and when you are released from prison, you are permanently prohibited from attempting to see, contact, or communicate with her in any way, unless she specifically requests it as an adult. Elena felt a huge wave of relief wash over her. Luna was truly safe now, protected by the law and by the people who loved her. After the sentencing, Elena drove straight to Luna's school to pick her up early. She wanted to tell Luna the news in person, in a safe and comfortable place where Luna could ask questions and process the information. Luna was in the middle of painting a beautiful picture of a rainbow when Elena arrived at her classroom. Mine painting had every color imaginable, and Luna had written "Happy Days" in big purple letters across the bottom. "Hi, Mommy," Luna said brightly, her face lighting up with joy. "Look at my painting. Mr. Jackson says it shows all the colors of happiness." Elena hugged Luna tightly, amazed at how much her daughter had changed in just a few months. The scared, quiet little girl was becoming confident and expressive again. "It's absolutely beautiful, sweetheart. Can we go home early today? I have something important to tell you." On the drive home, Luna chattered excitedly about her day. At school, her friends, and the upcoming sleepover at Maya's house this weekend. Elena marveled at how normal and carefree Luna sounded. These were the conversations she had dreamed of having with her daughter. At home, Elena sat with Luna on their comfortable couch and explained what had happened at the courthouse. "Luna, remember how we talked about Marcus having to face consequences for hurting you? Well, today, the judge decided that he has to stay in jail for a very long time. 12 whole years. Luna thought about this news seriously. "Does that mean he can't hurt me anymore? Not ever?" That's exactly what it means, sweetheart. And even when he gets out of jail many years from now, when you're a grown-up woman, he's not allowed to contact you or try to see you unless you decide you want him to. Luna nodded slowly, processing this information. Good. I don't ever want to see him again. I like my life now with you. Elena was continually amazed by Luna's clarity about her own needs and feelings. Over the following months, Luna continued to heal and grow in remarkable ways. Dr. Kim helped her process her trauma through play therapy, art activities, and gentle conversations. Luna learned that all of her feelings, anger, sadness, fear, and even relief, were normal and healthy responses to what she had experienced. One important breakthrough came during a therapy session when Luna drew a picture of herself, standing tall and strong, surrounded by colorful flowers and sunshine. "This is me now," Luna explained to Dr. Kim with pride. "I'm not scared anymore. I know there are lots of people who love me and will keep me safe no matter what." Elena also participated in counseling to help her deal with her own feelings of guilt and trauma from not being able to protect Luna sooner. She learned that Marcus had been deliberately manipulating the legal system and social services to keep Luna isolated and to make Elena's concerns seem unreasonable. "You never stopped fighting for your daughter," Dr. Kim told Elena during one of their sessions. "Your persistence, love, and refusal to give up are exactly what ultimately saved Luna's life." 6 months after the trial, Luna had completely settled into her new life with Elena. She was excelling in school, had developed close friendships, and was participating in activities she loved: art class, soccer, and the school choir. Her teacher, Mr. Jackson, regularly sent home notes praising Luna's academic progress and positive attitude. Elena had been promoted at her main job and was now able to support them comfortably on a single income instead of working 2 jobs. They had moved to a bigger apartment with a small yard where Luna could play safely and freely. The most beautiful moment came on Luna's 9th birthday. Elena threw a wonderful party with all of Luna's new friends, her teachers, and some of the people who had helped save her: Dr. Rodriguez, Mrs. Chen, and Ms. Garcia. As Luna blew out the candles on her colorful birthday cake, surrounded by people who loved and supported her, Elena thought about how different this celebration was from Luna's 8th birthday, which she had been forced to spend apart from her daughter. "What did you wish for, sweetheart?" Elena asked, as Luna finished blowing out all 9 candles. Luna grinned widely. "I wished that all the scared kids in the world could be as happy and safe as I am right now." Elena's eyes filled with tears of pride and love. Despite everything Luna had been through, she had maintained her caring heart and her concern for other children who might be suffering. That evening, after all the guests had gone home and Luna was getting ready for bed, they sat together looking through a photo album Elena had been creating of their new life together. "Mommy, I'm so glad I told Mrs. Chen the truth that day at the doctor's office," Luna said, thoughtfully as she looked at pictures of herself laughing with her friends at school. "I'm proud of you for being so brave, sweetheart," Elena responded, brushing Luna's hair. "You saved yourself by finding the courage to speak up." Luna turned the page to a picture of herself winning an art contest at school. "Do you think other kids who are scared like I was will find the courage to tell the truth too?" Elena considered this question carefully. "I hope so, Luna. And you know what? By sharing your story and showing other children that adults will believe them and help them, you might inspire other kids to be brave like you were." This conversation gave Elena an idea that would eventually change many lives. Over the next few months, she and Luna began working with Dr. Kim and Ms. Garcia to create educational materials for children about recognizing abuse and finding trusted adults to tell. Luna helped create a children's book that told the story of a little girl who found the courage to speak up when someone was hurting her. The book, written in simple language that children could understand, emphasized that kids should trust their feelings, tell a trusted adult if someone is hurting them, and remember that there are always people who will believe them and help them. Luna's favorite page in the book showed a little girl surrounded by caring adults, doctors, teachers, police officers, and social workers, all working together to keep her safe. "I want kids to know they're not alone," Luna explained as she helped illustrate the book with bright, hopeful drawings. On the first anniversary of the day Luna spoke up at the medical center, Elena received a letter that made both of them cry happy tears. The letter was from a teacher in another state who had read an early copy of Luna's book and used it to help one of her students find the courage to report abuse at home. "Because of Luna's story," the teacher wrote, "a little boy in my class felt brave enough to tell me that his uncle was hurting him. That child is now safe with his grandmother, and his uncle has been arrested. Luna's courage helped save another child." Luna beamed with pride and happiness when Elena read her this letter. "Mommy, our story helped another kid be safe." "Yes, sweetheart," Elena said, hugging Luna tightly. "Your bravery is helping children everywhere." As they looked out the window of their safe, happy home, Luna felt grateful for all the people who had chosen to notice her pain, believe her truth, and fight to protect her. She was no longer the scared little girl sitting in that medical center waiting room. She was strong, loved, and ready to help other children find their own courage. 2 years had passed since that terrifying day in the medical center waiting room. Luna was now 10 years old, confident, and thriving in ways that had seemed impossible during her darkest days with Marcus. On a bright Tuesday morning, Luna sat in Mrs. Peterson's 5th grade classroom, eagerly raising her hand to answer questions about math problems. She was wearing a cheerful yellow dress that Elena had bought for the first day of school, and her long dark hair was pulled back with a headband decorated with tiny butterflies. "Excellent work, Luna," Mrs. Peterson said, as Luna correctly solved a difficult fraction problem on the whiteboard. "You've really mastered this concept." Luna glowed with pride and happiness. Academic success felt wonderful when you weren't afraid to go home at the end of the day. She could focus completely on learning because her mind wasn't constantly worried about what might happen when school ended. During lunch, Luna sat with her best friends Maya, Jackson, and Sophia at their usual table near the windows. They were excitedly planning Maya's upcoming birthday party and discussing their favorite books from the school library. "Luna, will you read us another chapter from your book during silent reading time?" Sophia asked. Luna's published story had become famous at their school, and younger students often asked her to read it to them during library visits. "Of course," Luna agreed enthusiastically. "I love helping other kids understand that they can be brave and speak up if someone is hurting them." What Luna didn't know was that her book had created an impact far beyond what she could imagine. In the 2 years since Luna's brave voice had been published, it had helped identify and rescue dozens of children from dangerous situations across the country. That afternoon, Elena received a phone call that would change their lives in an unexpected and wonderful way. The caller was Dr. Amanda Ross, the director of the National Center for Child Protection, calling from Washington, D.C. "Mrs. Hartwell, I hope you don't mind me calling you directly," Dr. Ross said. "I've been following Luna's story and the incredible impact of her book. We'd like to invite you and Luna to speak at our National Conference on Child Abuse Prevention." Elena was completely stunned by this request. "You want Luna to speak to other adults about her experience?" "Only if she's comfortable with it," Dr. Ross explained carefully. "We believe that hearing directly from a survivor like Luna could help train professionals to better recognize signs of abuse and respond appropriately. Her voice could help save many more children." Elena discussed this opportunity with Luna that evening over dinner at their kitchen table. "They want me to tell my story to help other grown-ups protect kids better. Luna asked, thinking carefully about the idea. Yes, but only if you want to do it. You don't have to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or scared. Luna considered this seriously. Will there be doctors and nurses there like Dr. Rodriguez and Mrs. Chen? Yes, and teachers, police officers, social workers, and other people who work with children every day. Luna nodded with determination. I want to do it, Mommy. If my story can help them save other kids like me, then I definitely want to tell it. 3 weeks later, Elena and Luna traveled to Washington, D.C. for the national conference. Luna had prepared a short but powerful speech with help from Dr. Kim, focusing on what adults could do to help children who were being hurt at home. The conference center was enormous, filled with hundreds of professionals who worked with children every single day. When Luna walked onto the big stage, wearing her favorite blue dress and carrying her notes, the entire audience of adults fell completely silent. Luna looked small behind the large podium, but her voice was clear and strong as she began to speak to the crowd. Hi, everyone. My name is Luna, and I'm 10 years old. 2 years ago, I was really scared because someone who was supposed to love and protect me was hurting me instead. The audience listened with complete attention as Luna shared her story in language that was both honest and appropriate for the professional setting. I want to tell you about the grown-ups who saved my life, Luna continued with confidence. Mrs. Chen, the nurse, noticed that I was scared of my father. She didn't ignore what she saw or make excuses for it. Dr. Rodriguez believed me when I whispered the truth to her. She didn't dismiss my words or pretend it wasn't happening. Luna went on to describe how Miss Parker, her teacher, had been documenting her concerns for months, and how Elena had never given up fighting to protect her daughter. The most important thing I want you to know is that kids need you to notice when something is wrong with us. We need you to really listen when we try to tell you scary things. And we need you to believe us, even when the grown-up hurting us seems nice and normal to everyone else. Luna concluded her speech with a message that brought many audience members to tears. I'm happy and safe now because adults like you cared enough to help me when I needed it. Most. There are other kids out there right now who need you to care about them too. Please, don't give up on them, even when it's hard or complicated to help them. The standing ovation lasted for several minutes. Many of the professionals in the audience approached Luna afterward to thank her personally and to share how her words would change the way they worked with children. Dr. Rodriguez, who had flown from California specifically to hear Luna speak, gave her a big, warm hug. Luna, you've grown into such a brave and caring young lady. I'm so incredibly proud of you. Mrs. Chen, who was now retired but still passionate about child welfare, told Luna with tears in her eyes, You've become exactly the person I hoped you would become, a powerful voice for children who can't speak for themselves. But the biggest surprise came when Luna met Dr. Sarah Williams, a pediatrician from Texas, who approached her after the speech. Luna, I heard your story at a medical conference last year, and it helped me recognize abuse in one of my young patients, Dr. Williams explained. Because of what you taught me about trusting my instincts, I was able to help a little boy named Tommy get to safety with his grandmother. Luna's eyes widened with amazement and joy. Really? My story helped you save Tommy? It absolutely did. You taught me to pay closer attention when children seem afraid, and to really listen when they try to tell me something is wrong. That too. Evening, back in their hotel room, Luna reflected on the day's events with Elena. Mommy, I never imagined that the worst thing that happened to me could turn into something that helps protect other people. Elena brushed Luna's hair gently as they prepared for bed. That's because you chose to turn your pain into purpose, sweetheart. Not everyone has the strength and courage to do that. Do you think Marcus knows that I'm helping other kids now? Elena paused, considering how to answer this difficult question thoughtfully. I don't know if he knows about your advocacy work, Luna. But what matters most is that you've taken something terrible and used it to make the world safer for other children. Luna nodded with mature understanding. I'm not angry at him anymore. Mommy, I feel sorry for him because he doesn't understand how to love people the right way. Elena was continually amazed by Luna's emotional maturity and incredible capacity for forgiveness, even at such a young age. The next morning, before they left Washington, D.C., Luna and Elena visited the National Museum of American History. In the section about civil rights and social justice, they saw exhibits about people throughout history who had stood up against injustice and fought to protect others who couldn't protect themselves. Look, Mommy, Luna said, pointing to a display about children who had shown courage during difficult times in American history. They were kids like me who decided to be brave when it really mattered. Yes, they were, sweetheart. And now you're part of that tradition of courage and standing up for what's right. On the airplane ride home, Luna worked on her homework, while Elena read through dozens of emails from conference attendees who had been inspired by Luna's presentation. Teachers, doctors, social workers, and counselors from across the country had written to thank Luna for her courage and to share how they planned to make changes in their work based on what they had learned from her story. One email particularly touched Elena's heart. It was from a social worker in Ohio who wrote, Luna's presentation reminded me why I chose this profession in the first place. Her courage and strength give me renewed energy to keep fighting for every single child who crosses my path. When they arrived home, Luna ran excitedly to hug Sunshine, the golden retriever that Elena had adopted 6 months earlier. Luna had asked for a dog because she wanted to learn the responsibility and experience the joy of caring for something that depended on her love. I missed you so much, Sunshine, Luna laughed as the friendly dog covered her face with wet kisses. That weekend, Luna had a sleepover with Maya and Sophia. As Elena listened to the girls giggling, telling stories, and planning their summer activities in Luna's room, she reflected deeply on how dramatically their lives had transformed. 2 years ago, Luna couldn't have friends over to visit. She couldn't laugh freely or feel safe in her own home. She couldn't sleep through the night without nightmares. Now, she was a confident child who was using her difficult experiences to help protect other children around the world. Elena thought about Marcus, now serving his sentence in state prison. She wondered if he had any idea of the magnitude of what he had lost when he chose violence and control over love and protection. He could have had a relationship with this amazing, compassionate, intelligent daughter. Instead, he had chosen to hurt her. And now, Luna was thriving and making the world better without him in her life. The greatest irony was that Marcus's attempts to silence Luna and make her feel powerless had ultimately resulted in Luna finding her strong voice and using it to empower other children everywhere. His efforts to isolate her from people who could help had led to her connecting with people around the world who were working to protect vulnerable children. As Luna drifted off to sleep that night, surrounded by the laughter of her friends and the warmth of her safe home, she felt proud of how far she had come. The scared little girl who had whispered the truth to Mrs. Chen had grown into a confident young advocate who was helping to save other children. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities to learn, grow, and continue her mission of helping other kids find their courage. Luna's story was far from over. In many ways, it was just a beginning. Luna was now 12 years old, in 7th grade, and had become a nationally recognized advocate for child protection. Her book had been translated into multiple languages, and she regularly spoke at conferences and training sessions for professionals who worked with children around the world. But today brought an unexpected challenge that would test everything. Luna had learned about courage, forgiveness, and healing over the past 4 years. Elena received a phone call from Mr. Peterson, a lawyer who represented Marcus in prison. Marcus had been serving his sentence for 4 years and was requesting a meeting with Luna as part of his rehabilitation program. Absolutely not. Elena's immediate response was firm and protective. Luna doesn't need to see him, and I won't put her through that kind of trauma. Mrs. Hartwell, I completely understand your concerns, Mr. Peterson said carefully over the phone. But Marcus has been participating in extensive counseling and anger management programs in prison. He's written a letter to Luna expressing his genuine remorse and asking for her forgiveness. The prison psychologist believes this meeting could be beneficial for both of them. Elena's hands shook as she hung up the phone. She had never expected to face this difficult situation. That evening, as Luna worked on a science project about solar energy at the kitchen table, Elena struggled with whether to even tell her daughter about Marcus's request. Luna noticed her mother's worried expression and concerned body language. "Mommy, what's wrong? You look really upset about something." Elena sat down next to Luna and took a deep breath. "Luna, I got a phone call today about Marcus. He's asking if he can see you." Luna's pencil stopped moving across her paper. For a moment, she was very still, processing this unexpected information. "He wants to see me?" Luna asked quietly. "Yes. His lawyer says he's been getting counseling in prison and wants to apologize to you." "But Luna, you absolutely don't have to see him if you don't want to. I can tell them no right now, and we never have to think about it again." Luna thought about this for several long minutes. Elena watched her daughter's face carefully, seeing the internal struggle between the confident 12-year-old she had become and the scared 8-year-old she used to be. "Can I think about it for a while?" Luna finally asked. "Of course, sweetheart. Take all the time you need. And remember, whatever you decide will be the right decision for you." Over the next week, Luna discussed the situation with Dr. Kim during their regular therapy session. Even though Luna had healed tremendously, she still saw Dr. Kim once a month to maintain her emotional health and process new challenges as they arose. "What are you feeling when you think about possibly seeing Marcus?" Dr. Kim asked gently. "I'm not scared of him anymore," Luna said thoughtfully. "I know he can't hurt me now, but I'm curious about whether he's really changed, or if he's just saying sorry because he wants something from me." Dr. Kim nodded with approval. "Those are very mature and important questions to ask yourself. I've been thinking about all the other kids I've helped by telling my story and speaking at conferences. Maybe hearing from me could help Marcus understand what he did wrong and make sure he never hurts another child when he gets out of prison." Dr. Kim was impressed by Luna's sophisticated reasoning. "Luna, you've grown into someone who thinks about how her actions might help others. That's truly remarkable." Luna also talked to her best friend Maya about the difficult situation. "Are you crazy?" Maya asked with disbelief. "Why would you want to see someone who hurt you so badly?" "I don't want to see him," Luna clarified carefully. "But I think maybe I should see him. There's a difference between wanting something and knowing it might be the right thing to do." Maya didn't fully understand Luna's reasoning, but she supported her friend completely. "If you decide to do it, I'll be thinking about you and sending you all my brave thoughts." After a week of careful consideration and many conversations, with Elena and Dr. Kim, Luna made her final decision. "Mommy, I want to see him," she told Elena one evening after dinner. Elena's heart raced with worry and concern. "Are you absolutely sure, sweetheart? You don't have to prove anything to anyone." "I'm not doing it to prove anything. I'm doing it because I think it might help me understand some things I still wonder about. And maybe it will help him become a better person so he doesn't hurt other people when he gets out of prison." Elena contacted Dr. Kim, who agreed to facilitate the meeting. They arranged for it to take place at the state prison in a supervised visiting room with Dr. Kim, Elena, a prison counselor, and a security guard, all present to ensure Luna's safety. 2 weeks later, Luna walked into the prison visiting room. She was wearing a blue dress and had her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. She looked confident. and strong. Nothing like the frightened child Marcus had last seen 4 years ago. Marcus sat across from her at a metal table. He looked much older, thinner, and his eyes seemed different, less angry, and more filled with sadness and regret. He was wearing an orange prison uniform and appeared genuinely nervous. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Marcus broke the uncomfortable silence. "Luna, you look so grown up and mature." Luna nodded but didn't smile. "Hello, Marcus." The deliberate use of his first name instead of Daddy was significant, and everyone in the room noticed the change. Marcus had prepared what to say during this meeting, but seeing Luna in person made his planned speech seem completely inadequate. "Luna, I know I hurt you terribly. I know I was a horrible father. I'm truly sorry for everything I did to you." Luna studied his face carefully with mature eyes. "Are you sorry because you got caught and went to prison, or are you sorry because you hurt me?" The direct question caught Marcus completely off guard. He had expected to meet a scared child, not this articulate young person who spoke with such clarity and strength. "I'm sorry because I hurt you," he said, and for the first time his voice sounded genuine and honest. "I've been going to counseling here in prison, and I've learned about my anger problems and my drinking problems. I understand now that none of what I did was your fault." Luna nodded calmly. "I already knew it wasn't my fault. I learned that in therapy years ago." Marcus looked surprised that Luna had been in therapy and seemed to be doing so well emotionally. "I want you to know," Luna continued with confidence, "that I'm happy now. I live with my mom, and I have good friends, and I do well in school. I help other kids who have been hurt by their parents." "I heard about your book and your speaking," Marcus said quietly. "I'm proud of you for helping other children." Luna's expression didn't change at all. "You don't get to be proud of me. You didn't help me become who I am. Other people did that. People who chose to love me and protect me instead of hurt me." The words were harsh but true, and Marcus knew he deserved them. "You're absolutely right," he admitted. "I don't deserve to be proud of you. But I want you to know that I think about you every single day, and I regret every moment of pain I caused you." Luna took a deep breath. "Marcus, I need to ask you something important, and I want you to tell me the complete truth." "Okay." "If you got out of prison tomorrow, and you were angry about something, would you hurt a child again?" Marcus considered this serious question carefully. "I don't think so. I've learned better ways to handle my anger and my problems. But Luna, I understand why you wouldn't trust my answer." "I don't trust your answer," Luna confirmed honestly. "That's why I think you should stay in prison, until you're absolutely certain you'll never hurt anyone again." The brutal honesty of this statement hit Marcus hard. This 12-year-old girl was more mature and wise than he had ever been as an adult. "Luna, is there anything I can do to try to make up for what I did to you?" Marcus asked, desperately. Luna thought about this question seriously. "You can make sure you never hurt another child. You can keep getting counseling and working on your problems, and you can leave me alone to live my happy life. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me?" Luna's answer surprised everyone in the room. "I already have forgiven you, Marcus. I forgave you for my own peace of mind, not for you. I didn't want to carry anger in my heart anymore. But forgiving you doesn't mean I want you in my life." Marcus began to cry. Not manipulative tears, but genuine sorrow for what he had lost and what he had destroyed. "I understand," he said through his tears. "I'm grateful that you came to see me today. I know I don't deserve your kindness." Luna stood up from her chair, indicating that the meeting was over. "Marcus, I hope you become a better person, but I won't be checking to see if you do. This is goodbye forever." As Luna walked toward the door with Elena and Dr. Kim, Marcus called out one last time, "Luna, I love you." Luna stopped and turned around to face him one final time. I know you think you do. But love doesn't hurt people. Love protects them and keeps them safe. What you did to me wasn't love." Those were the last words Luna ever spoke to Marcus. In the car driving home, Elena asked Luna how she was feeling after this difficult encounter. "I feel complete," Luna said thoughtfully. "I needed to see him to understand that he's just a regular person who made terrible choices. He's not the scary monster I sometimes imagined him to be in my nightmares. He's just someone who needs to learn how to be better." Dr. Kim was amazed by Luna's emotional maturity and wisdom. "Luna, you handled that meeting with incredible grace and strength. I think I needed to see him to realize that I'm completely free from him now," Luna explained. "He doesn't have any power over me anymore, not even in my thoughts or dreams." That night, Luna wrote in her journal about the experience. She concluded her entry with, "Today I learned that forgiveness is something you do for yourself, not for the person who hurt you. I also learned that I'm stronger than I ever imagined possible. I can face anything now." 5 years had passed since Luna's final meeting with Marcus. She was now 17 years old, a senior in high school, and preparing for college. Her transformation from a terrified 8-year-old to a confident young woman was nothing short of extraordinary. Luna sat in her bright bedroom, surrounded by college acceptance letters spread across her desk. Harvard, Stanford, Yale, and 15 other prestigious universities had all offered her full scholarships. But there was one acceptance letter that meant more to her than all the others. The one from the University of California, where she planned to study child psychology and social work. "I want to become someone who helps kids like me," Luna explained to Elena as they looked through the acceptance letters together. "But I also want to work on changing the systems that failed to protect me in the first place." Elena beamed with pride and love. "Whatever path you choose, you'll be absolutely amazing at it." Luna's book, now in its 3rd edition, had helped train thousands of professionals worldwide. She had spoken at over 200 conferences and had received numerous awards for her advocacy work. But the achievement she was most proud of was the Luna's Safe Space program she had developed with Dr. Kim over the past 2 years. The program trained teachers, doctors, coaches, and other adults to recognize signs of child abuse and respond appropriately. It also provided resources for children to report abuse safely and connect with help. The program had been implemented in schools and community centers in all 50 states and was beginning to expand internationally. Today was special for another important reason. Luna was giving her final presentation as a minor at the International Conference on Child Protection in New York City. Tomorrow she would turn 18 and officially become an adult. As Luna stood before an audience of 3,000 child welfare professionals from around the world, she reflected on the incredible journey that had brought her to this moment. 9 years ago, I was a scared little girl sitting in a doctor's waiting room, afraid to speak up about the person who was hurting me, Luna began with confidence. Today, I stand before you as living proof that children can heal, survive, and even thrive after experiencing the worst that adults can do to them. The audience listened with complete attention as Luna shared her evolution from victim to survivor to powerful advocate. But I'm not here today to tell you my story again. You already know it well. I'm here to talk about the thousands of children whose stories you haven't heard yet, the ones who are sitting in waiting rooms right now, hoping desperately that someone will notice their fear and choose to help them. Luna went on to present detailed research she had conducted on child protection systems, identifying specific areas where improvements could save more children from abuse. We've made tremendous progress in protecting children, but we still miss too many. According to my research, there are 3 critical points where we consistently fail to identify abuse: during routine medical visits, in schools, and during family court proceedings. She presented comprehensive recommendations for improving each of these systems based on her own experience and extensive interviews with other survivors and professionals. Every child deserves what I found that day at Riverside Medical Center. Adults who notice when something is wrong, who listen carefully to what children say, who believe their words, and who take action to protect them. Mrs. Chen could have dismissed my nervousness as normal childhood anxiety. Dr. Rodriguez could have accepted the fell downstairs explanation without question. But they chose to look deeper, ask harder questions, and trust their instincts. That choice saved my life. Luna concluded her presentation with a powerful challenge to the audience. I'm turning 18 tomorrow, which means this is my last presentation as a child advocate, speaking about my own childhood experience. But I'm not done fighting for children. I'm just getting started in a new way. The question for all of you is, what will you do? Will you be the adult who notices when a child is in trouble? Will you be the one who speaks up when something doesn't feel right? Will you be the one who saves a child's life? The standing ovation lasted for over 5 minutes. As Luna left the stage, she was approached by Dr. Jennifer Martinez, the new director of the National Center for Child Protection. Luna, we have a proposition for you, Dr. Martinez said. We'd like to offer you a full-time position developing national policy for child protection. You could start after you graduate from college. Luna was honored by the offer, but had different plans. Thank you so much, but I want to work directly with children and families. Policy is incredibly important, but I want to be in the field, helping kids one at a time, while also working on bigger changes. That evening, at her 18th birthday celebration, Luna was surrounded by the people who had helped save her and shape her into the person she had become. Elena, Dr. Rodriguez, Mrs. Chen, Dr. Kim, Miss Parker, Ms. Garcia, and many others gathered to celebrate not just Luna's birthday, but the incredible journey they had all been part of. Detective Reeves, now retired but still passionate about child protection, gave Luna a special gift, a framed copy of the original police report from her case. I wanted you to have this, Detective Reeves explained, because it represents the moment when justice began for you, but more importantly, it represents the beginning of justice for all the children you've helped since then. Luna read through the report, seeing her 8-year-old self described in official language. It was emotional but empowering to see how far she had traveled from that scared little girl. Dr. Rodriguez made a heartfelt toast. To Luna, who taught us all that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's speaking up despite the fear. You've changed not just your own life, but the lives of countless children around the world. As the evening wound down, Luna stepped outside onto Elena's balcony to get some fresh air and think. Elena joined her, and they looked out at the sparkling city lights together. Mommy, do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't found the courage to speak up that day? Luna asked thoughtfully. Elena shuddered slightly at the thought. I try not to think about it too much. But Luna, you did speak up. You found your courage when you needed it most, and that changed everything. I've been thinking about Marcus lately, Luna admitted. Not in a sad or angry way, but just wondering if he ever really changed after our meeting. Why do you think about him? Because I want to understand how adults get broken enough to hurt children. If I can understand that better, maybe I can help prevent it from happening to other families. Elena was continually amazed by Luna's capacity for empathy and understanding, even towards someone who had hurt her so deeply. Have you thought about reaching out to him again? Elena asked carefully. Luna shook her head firmly. No, and I never will. I closed that door when I was 12, and it's staying closed forever. But understanding the psychology behind child abuse will definitely help me in my career. The next morning, Luna woke up on her 18th birthday to find a letter that Elena had been saving for this special day. It was from Marcus, written 3 years ago, but never delivered until now. Elena had debated for a long time whether to give it to Luna, but ultimately decided that Luna should have the choice of whether to read it. "He sent this to my lawyer, to pass along to you when you turned 18, Elena explained. "You don't have to read it if you don't want to." Luna held the unopened letter for a long moment, then set it aside without breaking the seal. "Maybe someday I'll read it, but not today. Today is about looking forward toward my future, not backward toward my past." Instead, Luna opened cards and letters from children around the world who had been helped by her advocacy work. Teachers had sent letters from students who found the courage to speak up about abuse after learning Luna's story. Parents had written to thank her for training programs that helped them recognize signs of abuse in their communities. One letter particularly touched Luna's heart. It was from a 14-year-old girl named Sarah in Canada who had been rescued from an abusive situation after her teacher attended one of Luna's training sessions. "Dear Luna," the letter read, "I wanted you to know that your story saved my life. My teacher learned about warning signs from your program, and she noticed that I was scared and withdrawn at school. When she asked me what was wrong, I remembered that you said adults would believe me if I told the truth. You were absolutely right. Thank you for being brave first, so I could be brave too." Luna showed the letter to Elena, both of them crying tears of joy and gratitude. "This is exactly why I do what I do," Luna said with deep satisfaction. "Every child like Sarah makes everything I went through completely worth it." As Luna prepared to leave for college in the fall, she reflected on the incredible journey her life had taken. From a terrified 8-year-old who couldn't speak up for herself, she had become a powerful voice for children everywhere who needed protection and support. Her final act as a minor was to establish the Luna Hartwell Foundation for Child Protection, funded by the proceeds from her book sales and speaking fees. The foundation would provide grants for training programs, support services for survivors, and research into preventing child abuse. "I want this foundation to outlive me," Luna told the board of directors, which included Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Kim, and Ms. Garcia. "I want it to be working to protect children long after I'm gone." On her last day before leaving for college, Luna visited Riverside Medical Center, the place where her journey to healing and advocacy had begun 9 years earlier. She met with current staff to thank them for continuing the important work of protecting children. Mrs. Chen, now the head nurse, gave Luna a comprehensive tour of the updated facility. They had created a special interview room designed specifically for children who might be experiencing abuse, based directly on recommendations from Luna's advocacy work. "You've helped us save dozens of children over the years," Mrs. Chen told Luna with pride. "Every time we use this room, we think about that brave little girl who whispered the truth to me 9 years ago." As Luna prepared to leave the medical center, she stopped at the waiting room where her journey had begun. She sat in the same chair where she had once sat, terrified and silent, unable to speak about the horrors happening at home. Now, instead of fear, she felt hope and determination. Instead of silence, she had found her powerful voice. Instead of being powerless, she had become a force for protecting other children around the world. Luna pulled out her phone and recorded a video message that she would post on social media that evening. "Hi everyone, this is Luna. I'm sitting in the waiting room where my story began 9 years ago. I want every child who might be watching this to know that if someone is hurting you, there are people who will believe you and help you. You are not alone, you are not powerless, and you are absolutely worth saving. Be brave, tell the truth to a trusted adult, and know that there are people who will fight for you just like people fought for me." As Luna walked out of the medical center for the last time as a patient, she knew that while this chapter of her life was ending, her mission to protect children was truly just beginning. The scared little girl who had once sat in that waiting
Room had become the fearless young woman walking confidently into the sunshine, ready to change the world one child at a time. In her heart, Luna carried the voices of every child she had helped, every professional she had trained, and every family she had touched. Her legacy was not just in surviving her own trauma, but in transforming that pain into a lifelong mission of protection, healing, and hope. As she drove away with Elena toward her bright future, Luna smiled, knowing that somewhere, at that very moment, another scared child was finding the courage to speak up. Another caring adult was choosing to listen and believe, and another life was being saved. The circle of protection that had saved Luna was now expanding around the world, one brave voice at a time. Luna's brave voice saved not just herself, but thousands of children around the world. Her courage reminds us that speaking up can change everything. Where are you listening from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. We love hearing from our amazing listeners everywhere. If Luna's story touched your heart, please hit that like button to help us spread this important message of hope and courage. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you never miss stories that inspire kindness and bravery. Together, we can create a world where every child feels safe and protected. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another incredible story of courage that will inspire you. Thank you for being part of our community of kindness. Remember, your voice matters. Your courage can save lives, just like Luna's did.